This is Suspenders Unbuttoned, a podcast where friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome back Brandon Red Cup Clark.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for the reminder. Now I don't remember what my Twitter is. That's nice.
Right. Because we're going to need to bust that out pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Very soon.
When is it? May 21st is when it airs on the
Up
network.
TV. That's the broadcast. Yeah,
But
network
it's
one.
streaming.
It streams
Oh,
Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so interesting that it streams before it goes live on the network.
Right. That
Yeah.
happened
So
the last
they
time,
kind of
too.
want to boost their stream level
Okay.
a lot, and our movies have had great success. So it was a strategy. And
Yeah.
we agree. We're like, okay, go for it, And then we really push the broadcast. It does, if everyone watches a streamer, I try to ask them to come back in for the broadcast at least,
Right.
or something, so we can get the big numbers and stuff. So, but yeah, it's cool. It's working.
Yeah. So the broadcast will be May 21st of Just Jake. The movie is Just Jake. And so we'll rally the troops and get people tweeting so we can
we have to, because we have a trend now. We trend on Twitter every movie we've done.
Yeah.
Don't let me not trend on Twitter during this time. And I don't mean me, I mean the hashtag. So
right.
I think we hashtag engagement plot, hashtag the happy camper. So we might as well go hashtag Just Jake.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
No, and I think
Nice and simple.
you have amazing stars in this. So who are your stars in this movie?
This movie stars Rob Mays, who plays Jake, or Just Jake.
Yeah.
And then we have Brittany Bristow, the wonderful Brittany Bristow's playing Amber Gibson in the movie.
Yeah, and these are some of our favorite people. So
We
we're
love Brittany.
Yeah, they're amazing. And it was a wonderful time, special time with them. And I had never worked with both of them, so it was kind of nice. But I did bring back some rerunners, and I did a little thing that you'll see in this movie that's a tag back to engagement plot and kind of like a metaverse in our rom-com workspace now. So
I love that.
We've been seeing some of the actors on Instagram, and they're doing other podcasts now too. So that's really fun.
I love that. That's
You've
awesome.
become like a little family unit, and they're following you around.
I'm glad I'm starting some trends. That's been a kind of thing in my life. Not that I really was planning on doing any of that, but that's awesome.
We like to start trend too. So we're like completely all in, right? We start doing something unique or weird because it fits us, and then other people start doing it too. So we're happy to be trendsetters. We'll just, keep going. For those that don't know, we actually met Brandon at an event. We hosted Brittany Bristow's bridal shower at Rama Drama and met Brandon at Brittany's bridal shower. So that's a lot of bees.
By the way, met you guys, but ironically, I'm in trouble with Jax that day because apparently I was doing something else and got stopped by people. I didn't know what time it actually started, by the way. Right. So I came in thinking I had ran in on time, and then all of a sudden I'm looking around. I go, "Oh my gosh, this is over." There's like
I think we were like cleaning up.
Yeah. And then Jax just was like, "What?" And then she was like, "You have to meet my friends," and it was like everybody in a circle. And that's I met you guys when everybody was cleaning up.
Literally standing around a table drinking.
So I'm sorry I missed your event. I didn't mean it wasn't intentional.
You know what? You missed the guys all dressed up in toilet paper wedding dresses. It was spectacular. So
Now, is that how you connected with Brittany and with Rob?
I met Brittany before that, like at Rama Drama, though. Yes, correct.
Yes. Okay.
That's where I met Britt. But then I got to hang out with Britt and Dustin, and we had a lot of the actors at the same hotel. We're all talking, having dinner, and like tapas and just sharing and stuff. And so then I just asked Britt and Dustin. They were sitting on my right, their life story. That's how I get to know everybody. And I was like, "How did you meet? And what's your story? And where are you from? And da 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 da." And it was more. What I loved about Britt, it was more about Dustin's story, and she was excited to tell it. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool and unique, because I usually get the opposite with actors. So then it was like, okay, and then I could ask Britt her question, but then Dustin decided to jump in to tell it. So I'm like, all right, I'll listen this way. It's a three-way view. And I go, is that accurate? And that they were just funny and cute, and we talked for a few hours, and then that's how I kind of got to know her personality. We kept in contact.
Yeah.
Then there was a lot of people pushing for us to work together. And then I had an amazing phone call with her when I pitched it. And she was just like, she comes from a long family legacy of the business like I do.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a godsend, and we really kind of related on that. And then it just blew up from there because I got into some really deep stuff in it. And I said, hey, this is going to be very different. And you're going to have to do something that's uncomfortable. And my question is, can you sing? And she's like, I used to at musical theater, but I said, okay, here's the deal. And she called me back. She's like, I absolutely love this. I adore this. I cannot believe what your perspective. You're unique in this space. And it's such a deep conversation that we had with everything. And you've thought about everything from the pastels to the wardrobe to what we're doing and the uniqueness of this character and why everything, little nuances that represent stuff. But not to get too deep, but that was the conversation. And she loved it. And we went on from there.
Yeah, she has told me that she's a little nervous for everybody to see her singing, but something tells me that she's
gonna be great.
Yeah.
She was, I don't know if she told you guys this, but my mom is a vocal teacher. And I said, why don't I have you reach out to my mom? I'll link you guys up. I'm not saying she's right for you. My mom is pretty well known in that space, but and a doctorate of music, but known vocally, really well known. And so she talked to her and everything. And then she came back. She's like, you know what? I think she's right for me because she said that all the right things. And I said, well, let me have a conversation with my mom first. So my mom was like, hey, she's doing everything wrong, but yet has great tones. That's a really good thing. And I'm like, oh, because she's like, now I have all this potential. Right. So, so she worked with her for a couple of weeks. And I mean, cause this was fast and I really got to hand it to Britt because that's not an easy task. And it just shows her devotion and her ability to step in and do whatever it takes at all costs. And it really blessed me because I said, I need you to trust me here. I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to put you around the best songwriters in Nashville. I'm going to put you around some of the most talented people. They're great friends of mine. And we're not going to let you down. Mauricio Guerrero, engineering and stuff too. And so when we got to the studio, we were actually still putting everything together so fast. We wrote the Without You song first. So we still needed to lay down her version of Without You, plus lay down her version just to shoot. Of Where Art Thou, this hymn that she sings in the church is beautiful. And I had a good friend of mine, April Ashburn, who's just a wonderful worship leader. I said, I want you to teach her your skills and your tones and your breath. And it was just a powerful thing. But just that one studio time, I could tell she was so nervous. So I ran back in. I said, these people in there, they're just sitting behind a booth. They barely know you. I go, I'm right here with you. Ignore all of this. This song's a prayer. Let's just rock this out together. And then I went back and do it again, and I saw her change, and I was like, okay, now we found it. And then like the fourth, fifth time, all of a sudden, I looked over at my buddy Scott, and I go, oh, we got it. Praise God, this is it. Like, because she was really nervous and so honest about it. Like, it was tough for her.
To jump into something vocally when you haven't been active vocally, even if you have a voice, is something that takes a lot of work. We know Britt well, and we know that she's going to work to bring it there. And I love that you found the connection for that to make that happen. Are these songs original?
So no, that's an actual hymn. That's a public domain, but we made our own renditions of it. So April Ashburn helped me with the worship song. And then what we did when we were in that studio, Rob actually played the piano to that in the studio real fast. He's that talented. He's just like, all right, I got it. And then he kind of created his own keys to that. So her playing in the church is Rob playing actually.
That is a fantastic.
It's so fun to do this stuff. The behind the scenes of this movie is awesome. I wish I could tell more people stuff. And it's such a God thing. It's just so wonderful how things came together because last second, but you just got to have a little bit of faith. And then these key little moments will just show up at the perfect time. It's like happy accidents. But Rob's playing, and then I had my friend April Ashburn on the phone with her. And I said, teach her this breathness and tones. And I said, and April and her just connected instantly. I'm like, yes, please, thank you.
And they did this on the phone.
On the phone while we're laying down the track in the studio.
Wow.
And then Britt got it, nailed it with her. And April's like, I think you got this. Go ahead. And I was sitting there going, I know there's one thing we're missing here. She needs to be reminded this song is a prayer. Don't worry about the rest of this. Don't worry about performance. It's a unique atmosphere. So I told her, I was like, just embrace this room right now. You're by yourself. This is the coolest place. No one's around to see any of this. And it was just, it came out exceptional. I think actually, you guys will really be impressed by her when you hear her sing. It's her individual voice when she's in the church and not being, doing vocal all the time. Like you're saying, it was a big step for her.
Yeah.
Big step.
So is this a hymn that we're going to recognize?
Yeah, I know it. Church people generally do, so I would think that you would. I'm not. When
I'm
you,
gonna have my
I think you're gonna
Christian rock albums up here. Like,
you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna recognize the hymn for sure.
Okay.
And we made it a unique piece where it's just her acoustically with the piano and stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah, and that church vocal leader is a sound too. That is a distinct sound to it, you know. So when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, I know. We have a gal at our church that is like, whew, knock it out of the park, great. So I can't wait to hear that. That's crazy. So you recorded everything in the studio?
Actually, we did it all at this school called Valor High School in Colorado, and that's kind of what a lot of our locations were. That big giant amphitheater that we used for Nashville, all the studios stuff for Marvin character. Some crazy guy plays Marvin. Don't worry about him. And then, you know, in the studio and stuff in back in Nashville. So that's all there. And then the lesson rooms that are supposed to be in Lincoln, Colorado are all there as well.
Okay. Who plays Marvin? It's another Easter egg.
Another Easter egg. Yes. Well, who posted that? Somebody posted a little picture behind the scenes. Yeah.
Who?
Did we see
was it you?
It might have been me. The actual scene that I was in.
There's some costuming going on at some point. There's some glasses.
There's definitely a lot of photos and behind the scenes stuff.
There's so many photos.
Trust me, the whole crew. The day I walked in, they're like, "The heck?" I mean, it's like did not expect it, and especially the first scene we shot. And that was the last day of shooting because I didn't want to interrupt anybody's stuff at all. So it was a tough day. We were doing 13 pages, and I had 4 scenes in a row. I was like, oh man, it was a lot of work that day. But hats off to my crew and everybody. And I had a line of people at me and makeup and wardrobe. I'm like, okay, next. And they're like, can you stop moving? And I'm trying to talk to them and give them everything and sequence and stuff. Brian's trying to rewrite with me while I'm, getting brushed back, and they're trying to do this mullet on me. It was hilarious. So.
All right. So you've been in the other movies too, but it sounds like this one, your role is not just what were you in? No. You have a role. So is that hard for you to be acting in a scene when you're so used to doing everything all around you all at one time? Like, were you still trying to do everything when you were supposed to be acting?
It's difficult in this situation. Well, let me say personally, it's difficult for me personally because I don't like to take away from my actors. I want them to have the greatest success they can. And I actually thought about it and I was talked into it. Kier was one of them. A lot of other people, we talked about it and they're like, no, dude, you need to do this. You're not. I just couldn't find anybody for it. And I was getting the urge on it. And I was just like, you know what? And I could just go bust this out. And Brian's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And they go, you got too much on your plate. It's hard in these movies because these movies are very fast and you're doing a lot of page count. You have to be very strategic about how you do things. And then the songwriters who wrote Without You, I wanted them to play the actual studio heads and be real songwriters in the studio to be a nod back to Nashville. And I'm like, you know what? They're going to be way more comfortable not being actors in a scene with me as their buddy and the director and feel safe. And so I was like, all right, let's do this. But, it was fun for me. I love doing that. I mean, it's in my roots of how I grew up and stuff. But it wasn't extremely challenging except for the fact that we were pushing a lot and we had a lot of setups. So that makes that difficult. Every time I try to memorize a line, I had 50,000 questions. And I'm changing things in the room to solve problems because I'm more of a director who goes, okay, well, we don't have time for this. So creatively, I'll do this. And they're like, oh, thank you, God. All right, boss, way to go. And then the gaffer makes quick adjustments. My dad's quick at changing the frames that I want. So that makes things easier. It's not an easy thing to do normally. Like I don't suggest it for most people. And I think a lot of actors that become directors eventually really, really lay on their director of photography and really, really lay on a crew, but they also don't do the page counts that we're doing. Like big movies, they're doing slow page counts. There's a lot of time to do it. But what was so neat is my crew was just like really stoked about it. I mean, now they were trying to use it as blackmail too, but yeah.
I mean, the look is spectacular. So, we all got that to look forward to. Speaking of the look, this whole movie has not your traditional look to it.
That blesses me because the goal was I wanted it to feel this movie in general, especially I got to hand it off to Up because they're letting me be me now. And they're even saying, no, go more. And so on this one, we already had the deal, and I'm like, all right, I hope they like this, but I'm gonna make it. I want it to feel like it belongs in theaters on its own, but still touch off the little elements that everybody wants to see or feel, and a little touch of feeling that they remember in these TV movies.
Right.
You still have your formulaic 9-act structure and all that stuff, but in this, I really wanted this movie to live on its own in its own space, and just be a cut above too, if that makes sense. So.
Right. Well, I will tell you just from watching the preview and seeing all the behind the scenes that I think Julie and I have both said, like, we're really excited for this one. And not just because we like love Britney and all that, but the look of it is just so different than even the Happy Camper, which had a different look than the Engagement plot. So yeah, we're excited.
It's funny because like my dad DP'd all 3 of those, but I had a deep conversation with him and I said, here's my pastels for this movie. Like these are the colors for the movie. Yeah. And then I break it down in the look and design. And I actually purposely said right in the beginning to him and Steven and Chris, my operator, I was like, guys, no Steadicam, but I'm going to work the heck out of the dolly. I wanted it to feel like longer lens, old school movie feel, and then have a touch of a little bit more poppy color that we're used to without getting flat, like a little more saturated film look. But we went really more in depth. There's more complicated blocking and moves of the camera. And some of it you may not even notice, but we're moving like a lot every time.
I love when the camera moves. I
have double moves going on in choreography during certain stuff. And then the tension scenes were really powerful. Like I did a 14-point dolly move and we call it do-si-do. And then I added it's a mouse and chase because it means like, hey, here's a rule, stick to it. And my dolly grip, hands down to Chad. But I let them have some freedom. I said, don't worry about nailing everything here right now. I'm going to counter on the other side and I'll tell you when I got what I need. But remember the basis of this and then stay with her for the overs. And it turned into, I think that's one of the best scenes cinematically, acting wise and powerful wise. I have a favorite scene and that was a whole nother story.
So which scene should we look for, Brandon? That's your favorite.
I'll explain that. I will say the other 2 movies I did in 14 days, this one I did in 15, and I really asked for that because I wanted more time with the actors a little bit. We still had a lot of page count, a lot of setups because it was more in depth because of music and big productions. Right. We have more big events happening in the movie, so you've got to prepare yourself. My favorite scene is definitely the turning point in their relationship. Okay. And the reason why is, and Brian's going to love this. So I come very prepared usually, but I'm on the day change. But I usually creatively will feel something in my gut and instinct and go, okay, bam, 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 this is right. But I had this weird moment where this scene was bothering me. It just kept bothering me. So I walked into the room and ironically, Britt and Rob come in right after ready to go. And I'm like, and it's so funny the difference. Rob had something to pitch. I'm like, nah, I need some time, bud. See you in 15. Give me 15 and I'll know what's going down. And Britt comes in and sees me and saw a look on my face like, oh, and just kind of like, she could tell. I think she knew what I was doing. She was reading. And I do this weird thing. And the crew's like, where do we move the kids? Where do you want it? You want double dance floor? I said, yes, but hold on. There's something very uniquely important that I need to do first. Please forgive me. Everyone take 15. Literally the whole crew. So I sit in the couch looking at Britt, and this is when they're in the lesson room, and it's after the church scene, and it's when Britt finds him in the lesson room, and we rewrote it because I wanted him to be in the original lesson room where he met Joaquin and where she met him for the first time and stuff like that again, because I thought that was unique. But here's why this is so important. This scene, not only dialogue bugging me, but there's something metaphoric about the blocking that I wanted to be metaphoric physically and spiritually to their relationship in the movie and to foreshadow the things to come because of the heart transition that's happening. I hope it's not too deep. Can I continue?
No, this is the stuff
we like deep. We love deep.
Let me put it in the best way. I figured out all of a sudden I go, oh, I'm missing my 4 beats. I want 4 beats that are very crucial and they represent the heart. And so Britt coming into the room was her finding him and seeing him where he is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, personally where he is, not just physically, right? But we're going to represent that in the physical, right? So she stops at the door and peeks in, and then she sneaks, and then she's caught, and so she said, as she approaches him, he acknowledges her, right? And then it's her coming to sit down next to him. So I had another stool already there so that she meets him to where he's at. personally, spiritually, everything, right? Then he finally, the third beat is he confesses everything that he's not confessed. And now he's met her where she's at because she's needed to hear this all this time. The last portion of it is physically is that he's a runner. He's ran away from all these things in his life. He's scared about real love. He's scared about real family and all these things. So I had to have him get up and leave her again, but not, it's physically in the room to put the guitar away and everything. And his back's to her because he just can't, he's still a boy at heart. He still has these issues battling in him, and this is too tough for him. And he can't just do it on his own. Now he's ashamed about telling all this truth because it's a rough thing that's been lying about the whole time. She gets up again and meets him where he's at to represent the second chances. And now I don't want to really ruin it, but the most crucial thing for me was he could not be the one to kiss her in this scene. It had to come from Brittany. So I just thought, and then, so I rewrote dialogue, took some dialogue away. I wanted more emotion from the looks and from the eyes and from the beats, because the audience will know the heart because they know what's been going on this whole time. And that this song has been written about their relationship. Yeah. And the truth is, he's been writing it and he only has his side of the story, so he can't finish it. He's been needing her side of the story to complete the song and then where they are together. So it's very crucial to me. And this is a deep scene, but Brian came in the room late because he had other stuff to do. And I hear the sides going, shh, and normally we'll talk and rewrite. But the most powerful thing about creatives and our relationship, this was very significant for him and I. If he had been in the room and we talked the rewrites over, there probably would have been a little bit of stuff like, no, maybe do this, maybe. And I wouldn't have just done what I did, right? Because I knew what I was doing visually, because that's my side. And he comes in and I'm all worried. And all of a sudden he goes, man, oh my gosh, bro, this is powerful. And he looks at me and he goes, I just have one note. And I'm like, yeah, what is it? Sure, hold on. But it was a cool time for him and I. And he finally, he came to me and I was at our little private screening. And then he told everybody, he was like, it's my favorite scene and it's the best scene in the entire movie.
That's amazing.
And it's just powerful. I think what these love stories miss is the depth. We went a little deeper in characters in this movie. And I wanted something else, because I feel like these movies struggle with why should I respect this chick if she falls in love with this dum-dum and then she leaves this guy and she likes that guy, but yet then she's going to go chase this dude, but yet she was dating some idiot this whole time. You know what I mean? So we didn't have that. And I don't
know we're there with you.
Why is she going to accept this guy who left her, who's a total jerk? Yeah. So my thing was, it's softening the heart, right? I need a catalyst. So I wanted to add to the script a kid to the story where his name is Joaquin, but Joaquin connects with Jake because of their relationship being foster kids and things like that. And in this story, it's very powerful because this kid finally opens up to him. Well, this is a kid she's cared for forever. And so that he's a catalyst that softens her heart towards Jake. And it's very important. I know I'm not ruining the story by saying most of this, because you'll see, but these are crucial things. And in this movie, I was very particular, and I'm going to do that more and more now, because they're starting to leave some things open to do. And the more we can be independent and do things, we'll go deeper with it. But I think people will appreciate it. I think it's a respectful way to our audience, I think this audience deserves that, a little more depth.
I think that was our first conversation, right, Julie? We talked about spoon feeding the audience.
And we were just like, no, bring all the pieces in that. We want the depth. Now, we don't want just the surface. We don't want to be, in the wading pool. We want to be in the ocean, right?
Yeah. And I think here, now you're going to cheer for Britt and you're going to cheer for Rob. And their characters, Amber Gibson and Jake Collins, but you're going to cheer for them. And then you're cheering for this kid. There's also a very special ending that I think needed to be there. So I added a second ending, and it's an amazing story how it happened. It's totally God. It's like, it's crazy. But this whole movie has crazy stories. It's just like a total act of faith because we were moving so fast.
Yeah.
Like this Joaquin character in the finish of the movie, there's a second ending. So it's just crazy.
Amazing.
So you shot two endings, or did you just change it and then go with your second?
All right, fine. I'll explain it. So you're getting all the deets. I was at a place, scouting a place, because I did all the scouting prior in Castle Rock, and I really felt like my heart, like I need to shoot in Castle Rock. I knew this when I finished Happy Camper, because I finished in Castle Rock. And so then it just sat with me again. So I spent time in these locations on my own to go study them and be in the atmosphere and get to know them. So I had my makeup artist, Jessica, call me and she's like, I'm right down the street. I live right here. I go, oh, great. Have you checked out Ecclesia? I said, no, I have not. So I went in there to go see it. Owner walked straight up to me. I said, this is crazy, man. I love this space. I love the feeling of this. We don't have anything written for it, but I think there's 3 or 4 scenes where we could change them to this location to bring a presence to the community here. And he's like, oh, yeah, it'd be awesome. I'm like, great. If you're open to it. He goes, dude, there's this kid coming tonight. I think. I heard he's pretty talented. You should come back. Kier lives in Castle Rock. So then Kier was like, yeah, man, you got to come back. I'll come and meet you. And Jessica too. And this is my first night there. This kid comes in, starts playing music. And I'm like, and I'm looking at the backdrop that I love and the shots that I just took. And I'm sitting there and I get this crazy gut feeling again. And I'm like, I walk up to him. I said, do you have any of your original music? And he goes, yeah. I said, can you please play it for me? It's crazy. I know. He goes, no, I'd love to. Kid plays the song. And I'm like, oh, that's the end of the movie. Okay.
Oh, man.
And it's literally what I saw from where I was sitting. I recreated that shot. And there's a way, and I did it all cinematically. It looks like a special effect thing from black and to opening the shoulders between them. And then physically, we created a triangle of them again, because the idea is they didn't just fall in love and then leave this kid to the wayside. You know, it's like, it's continuing that nurturing relationship and having this kid in their lives. So anyway, and it's the first time he opens his voice vocally. So we'll leave it to everyone's taste. I think it's fantastic.
So I love this. So
we're going to hear his original song.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Isn't that exciting?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to clarify a couple of things. So the scene you really like between the 2 characters that Brittany and Rob play, which their names are
Amber and Jake.
Amber and Jake.
There's a song that's involved in that also. Is there?
That's the hero song in the movie, Without You. Yeah.
Perfect. And
they sing the song in the movie, and she helps them write it in that scene too. So it's a very powerful scene.
We're all in. We're all in.
You're gonna get some chills, and Britt writes the last few lyrics, and you see it happen, and that's cool.
Plus, we love some music, so yes, bring on the music. It brings
this whole movie is organically what you hear is what you get. There's scenes where Rob's really playing and singing. There, Bryce, same thing. All of them were playing the guitar for real. Even Britt, like. She learned the chords and you know, and I wanted it to be very organic to songwriting, and especially to these guys that wrote the song in Nashville. It's really a thank you back to them and the styles of Nashville. The rest of the country sees artists and those people who cut the songs, but the real people behind it who write the songs and what really goes down. And seeing these guys and you know, we wrote that song in a new studio of mine for the artist in Nashville. And it's the first song ever written in that studio is Without You. And we wrote it with the boys. We hung out at Soho House real quick, and then we went back, and there's a bunch of pictures on my Instagram about it. But and I just said there was fire in the room because you could see it. And I'm like, okay, we're on to something special. And that's the hero song of this movie. We also wrote the song, all original music. I wrote the song, my favorite song on the radio. Super dope. It's got like a Dustin Lynch vibe and everything. That's the song Rob singing onto the radio, but it's really Rob's voice too behind him. You know, and cut by him, and it's pretty cool. So that he's got his key matched, and there was all musical strategies I took in this one. So
for people who don't know, Rob Mays is an amazing actor, but also an amazing musician. This is
he's a talented
roll into this, right? Yep,
100%. And he's singing for real on Without You. He's singing for real in that, and then he's singing acoustically out in the cold to that radio at -10 degrees. I mean, the boy did it, you know, and threw it down for me. And he's a great songwriter too. So, and dude, I gotta say, hats off to Will Weatherly and Eric Van Houten and Heath Warren. These cats wrote that song with him, and they wrote both those songs. I mean, just studs, and they just helped and supported. And you'll see them in the studio scene with the Marvin character.
With Marvin.
There's some actual multiple scenes they're in. It's pretty funny too.
There's some good Easter eggs here, Marvin.
Oh yeah, and Heath Warren currently has the #1 on Billboard right now for country music called "Rockin' a Hard Place" for Bailey Zimmerman. If you ever heard it, fantastic song. Same songwriters that are on this. I just hope that I really wanted this to bless people and the music to outlast the movie, if that makes sense. So
so I have 2 things to say. Is the first thing is, I think it's really neat to see the music in your movie because you also see it in your real life.
Yeah.
Like you're always doing something with music, right? So I think it's really fun to see that your worlds mesh. And I also have a question about how does it working with so much music in a film, what's different about that than just making, another 14-day movie of the week? It's got to be a lot different.
You got to really care about what you're doing, because you got to get it done beforehand. You really have to be prepared for it technically, because we're moving fast. And to keep it organic is taking different things where we have to lay down tracks in the studio for each guitar play too, just so it's cleaner if we really, show in theater or on TV, and, repeating certain things and but really be well oiled and prepared. Like Rob needs to know the song to a T, and Brittany needs to too, and going over like we were working on that stuff even before our deals were done for the movie, just out of faith. This movie was completely out of faith, to be honest with you. I mean, God just came through. And it's kind of how I operate in my life. I just believed in it. I'm like, this is happening. This isn't too important. And to be honest with you, I had a champion Lori Overholt, who was our executive producer.
Happy birthday, Lori.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Lori. Yeah, absolutely. And, we need those people in our lives. I do. I can't have my career and do the thing that I love the most without those champions that stand by you. And she did. And I get chills talking about it, because I just love that, because they had faith in the vision. And, she really stood by that. And then I had faith in her. Even we weren't ready, the whole contracts and things weren't ready yet. I was still moving, and we were still going, and we were still writing the songs and still writing the script. And Brian and I still are writing the script, rewriting the script until, up to shooting. And then of course I'm rewriting while we go, but that's just the beauty of it. And it's not an easy task the way that I went. Now you can do music in a way where it's really tracked and set and, fake it all day long in a movie, because we know how to do that. Mm-hmm. But I wanted it to be a lot more organic, and that's why I wanted someone who could, really play the songs and do it. It makes your life a little easier, and I wanted to feel organic about it. So, yeah, I mean, it's not an easy process, but I love that process. And then I wanted the song to be the spine of the movie, so that the story is about the song, and the song is the story, and the song is about the story. You know what I mean?
And we've seen music worked into some of these movies of the week more and more, and those movies have more depth because the song immediately brings some depth to it, right?
Yes.
And so I think people are going to be excited.
A lot of times what you get is a track or something somebody liked and put it to it. Yeah. And to be frank, guys, these are lower budget movies, so you can't go and get a big time licensing sync song. And that was part of my thing, is like, I know the music business, so I'm like a little bit from from what I do now, but it's like, I've got to know it more to do this a different way. And we carved out different ways to do it. And that's why I have such an amazing team of songwriters. And we write only our original music to our movies now. I mean, Happy Camper, Eric Van Hooten's all over that movie. And without these guys by your side, but I searched after that for that reason. And I feel like we can help each other. Like they help me, I help them. And, we needed to look at it a different way. That's all.
I love you're bringing original music to this. I mean, we've seen Ticket to Ride, or Ticket to Paradise, which
Ticket to Paradise.
Tickets to Paradise.
Yep, 2 Tickets to Paradise, not Ticket to Ride. That would be the Beatles. We saw that. We saw
a huge budget, by the way.
Yeah, that's why you don't.
When I eventually get one of those budgets, we'll do something.
Yeah. And we saw My Grown Up Christmas List, and the movies followed those songs a bit, and they brought it in. But I love that you have original music. Like, that is a big deal. Will we be able to stream these songs?
I am working on that right now.
Okay.
I want all these songs to be available for you guys on Apple and everything, and we're working out a deal right now. And how we do it, and and also with Up and stuff, so that you guys will have access to them. I also think, and this is just me biasly, I wanted to push the music level across the board. So the way that we composed was into the songs and out of things. I wanted it to be a musical without being a musical, if that makes sense.
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
And almost like breaking the wall of how music is originally created to be a musical. And that's how we kind of touched on this. Right. So I think you guys will notice that. But there's some scenes. Hats off to Ryan DeRico again, too. He's my composer from Engage and Plot.
Okay.
But we have deep conversations, and it's so cool because these guys do big movies, and he gets done with me, and he's like, dude, your sessions are so amazing. I go, what do you mean? He goes, just the way that it's just so much fun because you're so in depth about it and all the feedback. I go, well, what do you mean? You do these big movies. He goes, they don't say anything to me. I just do it, and then you give it, and that's it,
Yeah.
Right?
So.
Yeah. And you want to feel valued, right? Like your work, you want your work to feel valued. So
yeah, you do. Absolutely. 100%. And And I'm just so blessed by that because everything is such an important component. So they're all very, 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 very significant. It's not like, oh yeah, hey, I direct the movie, walk away, let post do stuff, and they add some music, and we're great, and we're done. You know, a lot of these movies don't get that respect because of the budget, and I understand that. I get it. Like, this is a business. I just wanted to touch it with, you know, bigger handprint. That's all, and do more regardless. I hope this movie shows that, you know, ultimately.
You know, this movie's got also more contemporary vibe to it than the other movies we've seen. Was that on purpose?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
There's a tone. I don't know. This is weird, but okay. So those pastels I create for the movie,
yeah,
we now put those pastels to characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then those characters now have them. Then wardrobe takes them, right? But the pastels become a tone and mood for the movie, and then I want to match that tone.
Right.
So, like certain colors for Brit, like with the, you know, the reds weren't going to be bright reds. They were going to be more very, you know, like a yellow was going to be a mustard yellowish, and the red was going to come down into the maroon categories, and we do breakoffs of the greens and everything, or like something of a touch of this, because I wanted to feel even the gold will be toned down a lot. Like, and then I want her jewelry was significantly with edges on purpose because I wanted to show she has edge, but she's still that clean cut girl and not push the volume. Like Gigi's character is her sister, so I filled her with pop to be the counter to her. So she's got very bright colors. And Gigi, I had a rule with whatever the frames we decided on, then the wardrobe will follow her frames because the frames were her feeling of the day, you know? And so then her hair changed too. So every day, every time you see her, different hairdo, different frames. And then the wardrobe was created around that because she's a hairdresser and this vibe that I wanted with it. And it's funny because I think some people
feels like the perfect person to have that kind of vibe, right?
Right.
Like,
what's that?
After talking to Gigi, like she has that vibe, right? She's just
she was
really
totally
lively
stoked.
and
Yeah, I was like, this is the perfect thing for you.
Yeah.
It was the most fun with her in wardrobe. I'm always racing down going, hey, where we at? Okay. And, you know, there was times where she's set and I'm like, where's the frames? And they go, what? And then all of a sudden, we're going through a couple of them. We're down to 3 and go, no, those are it. And then they looked at me and they go, yeah, we got to change around that to that. And my wardrobe girl was just like, okay, let's go. And we're changing it all up. But they loved it. I mean, it was like a team collaboration, but also just you feel real confident by knowing that vibe's just right, like when you're going into it. Which is super awesome.
Those are fun. Also, Easter eggs is that some of your actors have gone through your films with you. So who can we look for in your film?
There are 2 that have been in all 3 of my films.
Wow.
I even snuck in an Andy Davis.
Nice.
You may or may not. Yeah, Andy's actually in the scene with me.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I just love her willingness and coolness about it. It's like, guys, let's just have fun with it real quick. And then Walter, he's back. So this is the second movie with Keir, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Right. So do I have any others? Did I do any others?
Yeah.
No,
Keir,
I think I'm good.
Gigi, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
And Gigi.
Gigi. That's Gigi's second round. Bigger role for Gigi in this movie. Much bigger role. And a very important role in this movie because she was really the vibe and the family support factor to Brit, where she reminds her. There was a scene that I remember when we were doing the rewrite that I was like talking to Taylor. I'm like, hey, you did a great job with this sister thing, but we need more. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, there is an instinct here. I love the setup on the porch and everything. I get all that. There's back history to that. And I love that it's at the family house. But I think the sister needs to remind her that she's kind of hypocritical in this because she did kind of the same thing a little bit like Jake. Not quite at that level, but family was there for her for support, and he kind of misses that. And it's a cool scene. And the sisters vibe a lot, and Gigi's a catalyst to her heart softening too. Because you need that voice of reason in your life, and I feel like she was that, providing that for Brit, you know, and for her character.
Yeah,
I love that.
Love it. Yeah, I'm excited.
So fun. I was just gonna say, since we were talking about the color palettes and stuff.
Yeah.
Sarah and I both, with a group of friends, we often talk about the movie posters because we're not.
Shout out. Yes.
Yeah, shout out. Your movie poster is like spectacular.
Yes.
I hope no one gets mad at this.
Steph, post the name for me.
Okay, so
you're watching.
Here's the deal. Kelly, who lives back in Nashville, did it for me, a friend of mine.
Yep.
The other movie posters just drove me nuts. And I was dying inside. Now we have European buyers who want brighter ones and things, and it's all cookie cutter, and we kind of have to. But we didn't make 2 of them, and that frustrated me. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to make one no matter what that I want for this movie.
Right.
And then we'll go through. So, you know, hats off to Kelly. She worked with me on it one-on-one and did a wonderful job. And we went back and forth on a few things, and, you know, didn't know how. I think Europe buyers took that one ironically, but we have other versions for them. But I'm like, no, this is the version for IMDb everywhere else. And I just was so bugged by the other ones, and I'm seeing them on my IMDb. I'm like, oh God. And so I was like, from here on out, let's put a little class and taste. So I'm really happy that you guys like it, and I'm blessed you do.
It's a great poster.
I was so, I really wanted a good poster on this one, so I kind of got involved. I wasn't trying to micromanage. I just wanted. No, and you know, we've got great friends in our lives that are there, and they're in direct proportion to where we're supposed to be. So this time I was like, I went to a friend, said she's going to handle it and she's going to do it, and that was really cool. And hats off to James. Dude, James Stogas, who's my photographer. I've had him on every movie. He's a Red Bull dude and does action sports. Learned fast how to be a set photographer. I taught him lens caps and, you know, matching sizes and stuff, and, you know, our screen grabs. But the dude just has style and loves what he does, and he kills it. I think our photos are just awesome. So him doing studio work is not up his forte. So I'm glad he's getting it down now. So that's pretty cool.
You know what? Sometimes that different point of view brings in that style that it just makes you stand out. And it's something, it doesn't look the same as everybody else.
Yeah, so, you can teach the backdrop, studio green light, white background, whatever, easy. The thing for me was, I just want someone who has a different outlook in life, especially in this movie. I want everyone to be outsiders in some sort of way. I thought it was very important, you know, because this movie was supposed to represent that in a way. You know, he's an outsider, so but you know, I wanted to have the kind of queen wardrobe for Brit in that poster and all that jazz. So she threw it down. She's just a trooper, man. We'd work in the car on the way there, and just her vibe. The fun, I had so much fun with her, and she's one of those people. I have to say this, and if she's listening right now, you know I love you, Britt, tremendously. Just coming from a long history of family and loving the business gives a different heart to it. It's not worried about all the little things or neediness. And what that does is, when someone's like a sponge, and I think Brittany is, it just made me want to pour so much more into her. And I saw one of these photos of me sitting next to her in a really intimate scene, and she's already crying from the last round. And it was, you know, I wanted something just different in the second take approach. But I look at that picture and I feel like that's really why when we say a picture says 1,000 words, there's so much going on in that moment. And just, you know, it's just, and hats off to her, because it's not a picture most women want, is like, you know, pulling her eyes out, like in the photo as I'm talking, it's over my shoulder at her, you know, but it's so powerful to what we do. So, you know, I was just so blessed when James sent that photo. I just like almost cried. I was like, dude, that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And she's just always involved, always part of everything, always asking about every little corner and collaborating constantly. I mean, I love that. Yeah. We'll definitely dive into some stuff together again, I hope.
Yeah. She's an amazing lady.
She better be saying that.
She's an amazing lady. She's an amazing actor. She's got all the great background. And even as a bonus, I think Sarah said, as we saw her at Rama Drama, she is a walking Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful and stunning. And we were given.
She's got great expressions. And, you know, and to Rob, he's exactly what this movie needed, the organicness of songwriting. And he dove in with her and rocked it out. You know, it's just, everyone has different personalities on set. And, you know, it's just, we all vibe differently. I'm like, my speaking to Rob is completely different than my speaking to Britt. Everybody, you know. Gigi, we joke and harass each other. And that's how we get to our moment. Then all of a sudden I'm like, or I literally talk smack to her, like, and it gets her going, you know, to get ready to rock. So people were probably like, what is with this relationship going on here? But, you know, it's fun. It keeps the set vibing and everything flowing. And I want our crew and our people to feel like a family. And I think they do in all of our sets. And I want people to walk away from our movies feeling like they're at home and they want to go back and they want to do it again. because you go to war one another to get something done. I mean, you really dive into the trenches to complete this stuff. So, but yeah, she's a rock star. Yeah, no doubt.
Well, and then I think just having Rob cast as a musician is like he can naturally sit in that spot anyway, so it's never going to look like it's a lot of
like
effort
awkward or
right.
That was to keep it organic and authentic and fun for him, because this is what he does in his real life. So it was a different approach. Like he gets to really be the songwriter that no one really knows that he does. You know,
right? Which he's got music coming out soon. We're just
like crazy.
Yeah. So he's posting on his Instagram. I'm going to throw that out there. Rob's got music coming out, so people look for that.
Definitely.
He does. He's writing all the time right now. He's a machine. I love it.
And we heard the band is pretty awesome in the movie as well.
They are really, they're the ones who wrote the song.
Yeah.
And they are really playing their instruments on stage because we wanted it to have real, not just playing back to the track. Like drums were going. Will Wedley was playing the whole time hard on it, like, so you can hear him playing loud. I mean, I just wanted I wanted every portion of that to be real and to feel real. So we stuck to that. Those guys are awesome. And what's so cool right now, like when Rob goes on his writers rounds, he's playing Without You, and it's like from the movie, and it's kind of cool to hear in a writers round where it's so intimate and stuff like that.
Right.
And you can hear the whole place get quiet. I saw him and Riley at the listening room in Nashville.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, Brandon, where are you?" Like, we're sitting back there, and I think I was with Danica and like Jesse Hutch, and it was just a big group of us all supporting Riley and him, and then he plays Without You, and the whole place got quiet. I was like, "Oh, this is good. This is what we need."
It's a good song. Yeah.
I was having FOMO for that.
Riley
is Riley Weston. She's an amazing
she's awesome. Yeah.
Artist. She does everything. She writes, she sings, she plays guitar, actress. She does it all, right? So, I was like, oh man, if I could have gotten to Nashville for that performance, that would have been amazing.
Yep. I mean, when we played Without You scene and we were on the tight shots moving, there was a big monitor off the side from me for my DP and then obviously Gaffer, but all three makeup girls were around it, especially Jessica and Steph.
Yeah.
And I took a moment because I felt Brian, and I'm doing my sign language to my poor scripty. Brian taps me and I look over and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no. And the girls are crying, looking at it on the monitor. And I'm like, we nailed it. And Brian goes, yeah, bud. Yeah, that's all I need. I go, that's all I need to see. Now I know in my heart we're doing what's right and needed here. And I was like, okay, that's cool. If we get the tears and the laughter in this movie, that's all that matters. I got to make you laugh to make you cry again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I love that. Wait, is there a cameo by does Dustin make a cameo in this?
Yes, he does. You're getting all the inside information. How do you guys know all that action? So really cool thing.
That for stories.
Dustin came out to visit during set, and then I'm that person. I threw him in the band. I said, "Give him a guitar. Do we have an extra one to throw him up there?" I gave him like whatever wardrobe we had, and we could fit out to do. And then he's in the scene the whole time. He's on stage playing and stuff, so we had to sneak him in there since he was there. He's such a cool dude. Yeah. And then for one of the things for Brittany's eyeline, I thought it was a great idea and be fun. And Dustin was in her eyeline. It was just the cutest thing. It was like our last shot of the entire day of that big event anyway. From the audience's point of view and stuff for her and her eyeline back to Rob. So I thought that was cool. Yeah.
It's perfect. So Dustin is Brittany's husband, and he is a musician also. So it's not super random.
No. Yeah. No, there's like little bit. I think there's like a little social media going around of like Rob singing it or someone else singing it, and then Dustin sings it with Britt or whatever, So of him playing guitar and stuff, and I'm like,
dude, I haven't seen it yet.
I don't know how I've seen it. I'll have to ask Britt. Maybe I thought it was on Instagram and stuff. So.
Well, she might have posted and we didn't realize, and so now we need.
We'll just go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the third film for True Brand Entertainment, right? You had a 3-movie deal. So what's next? What can we expect for the future?
Can I say this?
I don't know. Can you? You go ahead.
I have a lot of things going right now. Yeah. But in this space, we have a movie we're looking to do, and it looks like yeses all around. If everything works out the next few weeks of what we need to do, it would be an ensemble cast, fun thing to do. And I hope it's Brittany coming back too, possibly. And it's an ensemble female cast.
Oh,
And
perfect.
I don't want to ruin too much, but Brandon might do his first Christmas movie. So we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's fun.
That was worth a red cup.
And you know I'm going to end up putting music through it somehow in a different way.
That would be amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And an ensemble female
It
cast.
may or may not include Jacqueline. We'll figure that out. She's very, very
I'll
much
be
involved.
texting her right now.
Jax might be a producer on this movie that we end up doing.
Really? That is
Yeah,
exciting.
She might be Miss Boss, like rocking around. So
yeah.
no,
Fun
she has
fact,
some big,
she's going to
she has
be
a big
coaching my
involvement in it.
daughter.
What's that?
Fun fact, she's going to start coaching my daughter who wants to now. She asked me to sign her up to be a child actor. So
Wow. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll sign you up with Jax.
That's a big endeavor, Mom. Get ready. Grew up around that all my life.
We'll see. But yeah, love her too. Just saw her recently, actually.
So, and just I'm going to throw it out there. Jax was in The Engagement Plot.
Yes.
And played. I'm trying to think what her character's name was.
She was the best friend of Rachel Boston's character.
Yeah, they were rocking the hats together.
Yes, that was a hat themed movie. In case you can't tell.
Yeah, it was a hat themed movie.
I should have had all those hats available on Amazon and stuff. I might need to start thinking about that with my wardrobe themes and stuff going and stuff.
Oh, right. Putting up.
Yeah, that would be fun for your customers to link.
I know. I actually think this audience would love that. I mean, now we might need to do it with like GG frames and things like that.
Oh, for sure.
I'll come up with some stuff. We're gonna do that.
In this space, we've seen it. The Wedding Veil movies, the costumers have been linking to the dresses and the suits and stuff for that. So,
dude, I should have done that on Engagement Plot. Come on now.
Should have done that. Yeah, should have done the hats, man. People would have totally gone for the hats.
There was a lot of hat vibing going on in that. And it's not easy on the gaffer and my dad lighting and stuff.
Right.
They're like, more hats. I'm like, guys, it's just a theme. Let's work with it. A little more fill light,
Right? Because you got the brim, you got the shadowing. There's a lot of
there's a whole lot to that for sure. Absolutely. I did it in Happy Camper too, but they're a little different. I went with a different style and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So are we going hatless in this? Just Jake?
It's not hatless, but there's a different vibe going on. Yeah. I lean into the snow, and there's some fire pit scenes and things like that in this movie, without being a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. Britt owns a coffee shop in this movie. Amber Gibson owns a coffee shop, but I did it a little more kind of split between like a vibe of farm to table meets like kind of hip and new and clean feeling. And then so I put that out. She wears beanies and stuff. Like that's where I wanted it for her because she's a musician in this. She's the artsy girl in this. I wanted a touch of a little different feeling and touch. But Rob does wear some cowboy hats here and there. He wanted to wear them more, but
I would bet. But he looks good in a cowboy hat.
And Marvin may or may not have hats on, so
What's Marvin wearing?
Is
he wearing a baseball hat? What's Marvin wearing?
Marvin's wearing those flat bill hats backwards and doing the Marvin.
Yeah, he is.
A lot of chains, a lot of things, a lot of rings and things. Yep. And he's got a love for toothpicks. So
okay. He's got a love for toothpicks. I'm just laughing because Marvin. Every time I hear the name Marvin, I think I'll show my age a little bit. Marvin the Martian. So
okay, so I go Starvin' Marvin.
Starvin' Marvin. Yeah. I mean, we could hashtag Marvin at the same time on this.
We'll add it to our hashtags when we're tweeting. So, because when it airs on May 21st on Up TV, we're all going to be live tweeting Just Jake, hashtag Just Jake. But clearly, it's going to also have hashtag Marvin.
Yeah, we'll just make a sub. So every time you respond to somebody, say hashtag Just Jake and then hashtag Marvin.
Whatever. Right.
We'll take pictures, scenes, or whatever. I mean, hey, we trended every time. So this time we're definitely trending. Let's go.
Yeah.
We'll rally the forces again. Let's get out there. We'll get people tweeting again. Because it's a lot of fun to live tweet when these movies are going on.
Absolutely. I try to be involved in. Sometimes I'm watching too in depth. I'm like, oh, dude, what did I do here? Just kidding. Right?
You're along with us.
I settled in.
Yeah. At Brandon Red Cup, right?
Yeah.
That's what you are.
I found out today. You reminded me, Brandon Red Cup. I had zero Twitter till Jax decided on your guys' show and then makes me a Twitter account. I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
So this is the deal. He gets on with Trevor Donovan. They're at some rental place, and he's drinking out of a red cup, and I just started laughing, like, oh my gosh, are we in high school? You have a red cup, and they literally didn't want to do dishes.
Yeah, we should clip that.
That is true. I will contest this. This is true. And then somehow it became a red cup theme, and now it's like a party every time we hang.
It is a party. You got to bring your red cups because it's a party.
We did like a podcast with you guys for Happy Camper while we were in post for Just Jake.
Yeah.
Right. And I had Brian Bird and Ty Truesdale, my partners at True Brand Entertainment. And we had someone go out and get red cups so that we could be prepared by the time everyone came in, because everyone was going to be on that,
I didn't know you were all going to bring red cups either. I thought it was a party. Funny. Yeah.
It's like a party.
And then we had Gigi and Kier and Andy.
They all came with one.
Yeah. And Gigi and Kier will be in this one too.
Yes.
Just Jake. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is the party just continues.
Oh yeah. Do you guys know that Andy is married to Kier, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So another husband.
And she makes like unbelievably beautiful.
Stunning cookies. Yeah. She's a total artist. And
we totally follow her.
Yeah.
We got all.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. She's in this movie. Very small role, but it's just a nod back and something fun for us to do. And so she's my assistant, Marvin's assistant in one of the scenes. Yeah.
Marvin
and Rob's girlfriend plays a role in it and threw her in there.
Oh, fun.
Lex is another assistant. So at one point, Marvin has 2 assistants.
Wow, Marvin's needy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's got 5 phones, and the girls are all holding on to him in an iPad thing, and I pass it along to her and like, hang me,
And who did you base Marvin off of?
How different is Marvin?
So Marvin is confused. Okay, he's got a Southern vibe, but he's also like a Jeremy Piven of Entourage meets a label owner out of like Capitol Records with a touch of trying to make friends with every kind of artist and person, and so he's like changes all the time, and he's got like a Southern jive feeling to him. Yet he's like an Ari out of Entourage in a way. Not a nice dude, he's a jerk. So I play the a-hole. Yeah.
That's
hashtag a-hole.
Hopefully you guys will like me after,
I'm pretty sure we will.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
It's gonna be really fun.
I hope so. I think you guys will really enjoy it. This one's special.
Yeah. So maybe a Christmas movie we can look for.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
And live streaming starts on TV.
Friday.
No, Faith and Family, right?
Up Faith and Family is the app. That starts Friday. So, yeah, absolutely. Up Faith and Family. Friday. Then it's on Up TV Broadcast, their channel, on May 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, Up TV. We will be live tweeting at that time on May 21st. Join Brandon Red Cup. And you possibly will have a Christmas movie filming.
We'll see.
So the goal would be this Christmas or next Christmas?
The goal would be this Christmas. So
okay, let's go.
We need to get this model carved out and things set. But yes, that is one of the other things. I have a TV series called Rowdyville, What's Beneath the Noise.
Okay.
That should be coming out soon, and we're still shooting. Those boys you saw in the movie are in it as songwriters and everything. Bear Bailey, who was in Happy Camper.
Okay.
He's in that. He's going to be in that. We got some cool people like Sadie Bass from The Voice. Oh, Sadie Bass is the one who wrote the song for the trailer, and you hear her song in the movie, and she's on a poster when Rob's on his phone and the label's a hallway walking by.
Okay.
So we snuck her up on the wall where he stops and says, I love you guys all, when he's doing his, his yin yang video, we call it, which is like TikTok in a way.
Okay.
And then, because that's how he became famous.
Okay.
He was a tow truck troubadour, so he tows trucks and sings some music. Became famous, and then a big label and Marvin arrogantly signs him a deal and everything. So that's on there. Sadie Bass's song is dope, and then you hear it when Brittany's listening to it when Rob comes in to do a lesson for Joaquin, and he pulls it out of her ear, so it gets a little quieter. But it's a good song. It's called Holy Ground. It's really good.
Okay,
I think you'll like it.
This is fun. And
perfect vibe for us.
Where can we see this show, Brandon?
I cannot say yet.
You can't say yet. Okay.
We're holding it hostage right now.
Okay, holding it hostage.
It's going to be really, really good, and I may or may not be in this show.
So I'm assuming it's about music, right?
It's a primal reason and catalyst to things, and it just made sense story wise. So we're like, it's all about music, but it's also about when those guys write for our TV shows and movies as well, and some of what Just Jake is about.
Okay.
This is the real deal now of how that goes down. So it's very relatable. In fact, Just Jake's private screening will be in the show. There'll be some other stuff from Just Jake in the show. So yeah.
Amazing.
That's fun.
That's amazing. Also, Just Jake has about 300 Easter eggs to look for.
Oh, yeah.
If
you're a fan of True Brand Entertainment and you've watched Engage the Plot, Happy Camper, you're going to have fun with these Easter eggs.
Love that.
And there's some added ones, obviously. So
yeah, lots to look for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You won't be bored. I don't think.
Well, I think we skipped the game because I think we've played that with Brandon a couple of times.
Yes, let's just wrap her up and
Perfect.
Tell people, watch Just Jake, stream it this Friday, watch it May 21st on Up TV, join us live tweeting. We're going to get trending again.
Yes, we are.
We've got this. We got it down.
Amen. Let's do it.
Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. And thanks, as always, Brandon. We love chatting with you. Hang on for 1 second.
Right
so
back
bye,
at you.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.